the sun is shining, there's a bit of a breeze. It's a perfect day for speech Frisbee.
We have two European standouts here.
We are moments away from the opening pull now.
Deep breaths before the madness begins.
Greatest attempt! Oh my goodness, layout to keep it alive! My brains are melting out of my ears! What is going on out there?
Women's division champions!
Gold medal winners here on the beach. European Beach Ultimate Club champions.
Thank you and enjoy the show.
Good morning, everybody, and what a beautiful morning it is here on the beaches in Gdańsk, Poland, here at the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships. You are currently going to be tuning into Troubles from Poland versus JinX from Germany. I'm Gigi Morrison, and I'm very delighted to be joined by Steph Rapazzo. Good morning. How are you?
Morning, Gigi. I'm doing very well. It's a wonderful morning. It feels like we're in a totally different place after the end of day yesterday, even though it was nice from time to time yesterday, but blue skies, a nice morning breeze, it's sunny, and we've got the two top seeds in the women's division duking it out, basically for just seeding between the two of them. Top, the first and second will be determined. These are the two teams, both both had the best point differential over the course of yesterday, and as such, the winner of this will be the number one seed and will take the 8th seed that emerges from the quarters, or the pre-quarters rather, and the loser of this game will take the 7th seed. So there's something to be taken. They will be on opposite sides of the draw of one another if they both advance from there. But this is kind of to assert dominance in the division, to see it's great to get these kind of matchups earlier in the competition. They always say it's so hard to beat the same team twice, to play the same team twice. So us getting a chance to see these two feel each other out is just a nice treat for a Saturday morning, top of the table here in women's action.
It certainly is. It'll be interesting to see whether both these teams will keep their cards close to their chest or just let it all out. Really go full beans to start off the morning.
Uh-oh.
Immediate turn, trying to find on the sideline Proshinska. And said Garnier picks up. Stock count is beginning to rise, tries to find Müller, but doesn't.
Well, how's that for some morning nerves? A couple of turnovers with immediacy. Both from arguably two of the top players on the team. Chablitzka a throwaway, then Garnier a throwaway to give it back. An interesting start here in Gdańsk.
Troubles with another opportunity. Immediately having to go to sand first. First minute, first bid. Chablitzka goes up the line, also having to get chest to the sand. Really pinned here. Takes the long leading pass to Wadoszewska. Wadoszewska pops in to Made. First point for Troubles.
And had they started like that, I would have been, they're here, ready to go. That was a really nice possession once they got it back. A bit of the morning jitters on display, most certainly there. But Troubles get the disc back, work it up the far sideline, wait for the spacing, but more so dictating and making the separation on each of those ensuing cuts. That one in particular, the scoring goal to Made.
Yeah, that leading pass up the line that we saw really opened up the pitch, giving Troubles the opportunity to give a little quick pop. We had a brief chat with both the teams just to assess how everyone was feeling. Everyone seems to be quite tired. Yesterday was a long day and very up and down with the weather, having the storm delay towards the end, kind of delaying things, but a nice reset today. Beautifully sunny morning. Givic catches the pull, finds Anik. Walczak having to bid. Successful, really strong hands. Looking for Prien. Prien having to jink and jive, looking overhead.
Just a little bit off with the throw. I thought it looked really good, and I you know, the connection between Walczak and Prien goes way back. They were EBUCC champions back in Castel de Fels. I think that goes back to 2018, playing with Seagulls together. So another logo on the jerseys this time, but they're going to see if they can recapture that glory. And almost there, but a break chance for Troubles.
Didn't like the first option. Does find the second in Mela. Trying to dump behind. Floaty Sesenicic.
Ooh, nice
A
throw.
beautiful
Oh.
Saintowska. Bagiewicz gets in the way. Earning it back. They've got a short field now. Anik close to the end zone. Walczak provides the first option. Does find Prien just outside, just straddling the end zone line, trying to find Walczak again. This quick give-go movement is lethal in the end zone space. Proven there. JinX earned their first point. Not clean, but the first point wasn't clean either.
Nope, a couple dirty holds on the board. That's exactly what Levka Walczak wants to do. Like, she's kind of just showed it all. The huck early, she got it in nice position, and she's more than happy to put a boost on it, but more so this give and go play, more so behind the disc, always giving it an option, but giving it immediately, and you know, not quite insisting it, but like allowing her pace to make sure that it's seen as the best option each and every time. She's there very quickly. She gets open in small spaces, and again, Prien and Walczak showing how to play that two-player game with exceptional efficiency here. Look at them go. Now let's just take it back the other way.
Made. Over to Szablicka. High forehand, fingertips. Gianna gets her body in the way. That D was well earned. JinX now with a break opportunity. Lewandowska strides up to the disc. Has a lot of space in the middle. And the cut's kind of slashing across. Stall count is rising. Does eventually get it out to Pichagina. That one just catches the wind. A little too eager to get that off.
A little too much on it. Alex Atkins throwing it back into play after it goes over the fence. But another break chance availed. So they're giving each other chances, that is for sure. None yet taken, only 2 points in, but this on the third. Can Troubles be the first to draw blood here?
The defense is certainly providing a great deal of pressure, immediately going for the deep option. Little too short. Gerna rips that out of the air. Finds Müller. Müller taking on the deep herself for Pichagina. Just over the top of the gimbal cam.
Billy Matthews did a good job. The coffee bill to get out of the way there. Anna Gerner, that's your second block. They've given it right back, but that's twice that Troubles have gone deep, and they've shot to the pairing against Anna Gerner, and she has denied it. Once with a knockaway, and that time a straight intercept. So maybe let's not go back to that well.
Pinned on this front end zone corner. Again, the cuts are coming quite laterally. They're not really utilizing the under space, but they do find midday. Trying to find Szablicka, but have Popek instead. Nowakowska finds Midday. Pops back to Szablicka. Midday. Midday and Szablicka really want to find each other, have that strong connection. Podgorska, miscommunication in the end zone. So close.
So close, yet so far away as that might feel. But marched it the whole way up. Looked good. The last throw to score. The only one with imprecision. And JinX will get to go again. These two teams definitely know each other well, even on the grass season, on the beach season, but they've hit it out plenty. Woo!
Lewandowski looking for Garnier. Garnier will put everything on the line for it. Trying to find Lewandowski again. Instead finds Müller. This Troubles defense is really piling on. Garnier provides the cut and the catch in the end zone. JinX now 2-1, the first break of the game.
Wow, what a throw by Malena Müller. Loved the cut from Garnier, got out of the dump space, and that's one of the ones when you leave the dump space, your defender's really guessing. You can take the first 5-10 meters and sprint upfield, but there's still some inclination that they might come back and fill the dump space. Garnier kept going, had great separation, but how about that throw by Müller? We were talking about it at the start of the game when they were warming up. They had a nice hucking drill, and it was quite impressive across the board. Every player on JinX were, it was half field hucking, but still half field hucking with ease to get things going. So they warmed up for this, and now they're implementing.
It's certainly something that they should use to their advantage. And as you mentioned, both sides have played against each other a fair amount, but as teams within themselves, they've also played together pretty consistently. They have a lot of chemistry, both Troubles and JinX. And again, that's another factor that they should really hold close to their chest, use to their advantage. Zajczowska. On that sideline, finds Bamblodia. Really wanting that inside backhand shot. Does eventually get Zajczowska. Calling for the deep, takes it on. Wrodzowska! Massive bid!
That was incredible. I did not think she was getting there, but the legs just kept churning, kicking up the sand. Wrodzowska this morning warming up she's an axe of an athlete, lean muscle, and used every bit of what her body can provide in the last 5 steps there. Just digging again in this sand that players have been sinking into over the course of the weekend, and chucks the body for the goal there. Love seeing that. Throw was very good, but I really love this chase again from our angle, from my angle. I thought that was overthrown out of hands, and I didn't really see the potential for the score, so even more impressive.
And that's the amount of trust that they must have in each other as teammates, knowing I'm going to throw this out, you're going to get it. I know you're going to get it just because you're an absolute athlete. A beautiful pull. That is floating. Difficult to catch, but not a problem for Müller. Immediately down the sideline. Receives it back. Garnier provided the dump option. Is then thrown to. A great slash cut from the middle. But this Troubles defense is really proving difficult. Slabitska gets a D for herself. And picks up a few meters outside of the end zone. The JinX D with some switches off that front person. Wadoszewska. Dishes back to Wrodzowska. The JinX D was on the shoulder, but not a problem at all. Popek for Troubles.
That's a break. That levels the break score 1 apiece, levels the scoreboard. Oh no, that's still a lead, my bad. That's a lead taker for JinX. But I really like that Cibliczka takeaway there, the defense against Lewandowska, a Polish player now playing for JinX for a few years, but came from definitely Polish national team. I do believe Lewandowska was with Troubles, but I might need to check my sources on that. Anyhow, great contest there. Cibliczka took it away. got up above Lewandowska, and then the rest was nice, calm end zone offense, waiting for the most open options.
Walchuk finds Brian. Brian in the middle of the pitch, slap bang there. Has Anik wide open, but instead takes on Givic. Givic over to Walchuk. JinX really wanting to work this through the middle. The trust into Baltic. My word. That is the kind of chemistry connection that takes years to find.
And they've put those years in together, and they're just giving a nice display of it right now. That throw to score was awesome, the lean out. But what was even better, I thought, was the cut Priyan made to get open. And it was just before this moment. But look at that throw, the lean out. Just made sure that she was totally into the throwing lane, and that angle showed it. And again, it was the cut right there. She just got enough space from Vidroshka. They were running in a straight line together. Priyan took a jab step to the left, opened up, and then the rest is history now. But the rest was made to be easy because of that connection that the two of them have, reading one another's minds. 3-3. We thought this would be a game. So far, we're getting a game.
Yep, a very exciting one at that. This is one that we anticipated to come in later on in the tournament, and it could return to us. We don't actually know, but what a beautiful way to start a Saturday.
Well, if it does come back, it would have to be the final.
I'm already very excited for that final. Baruszewska. Beautiful lead shot to Popek. Popek with a high release backhand to Made just outside the end zone. Nowakovska to Made. 4-3 to trebles. That was some beautiful offense.
Yeah, nice clean hold. They got really open on two upfield cuts there. Milena Mula tried to do what she could to switch from thrower to cutter and swap assignments, but in doing so, turned her head for 1 second, and that was just enough time to make the goal-scoring cut. You see again there. Give it to Troubles. They are getting their offense cooking. Here it is again. Lewandowska coming a bit late, and Malena Mula trying to stay between two players on her own, and that's obviously a very big ask.
We're seeing that both Troubles and JinX, as soon as they get closer to the end zone, they play in a very similar style of quick pop passes, smaller cuts, not trying to be as expansive, just because you're finding your opportunities to really take advantage of slicing through the defense. And it's beautiful to watch. Givic to Van Müller. JinX getting things started quickly. Walchuk provides the deep, and it's taken on. That rises over the top of the defense. Well read. Van Dida wanting to go to San, finds Priyan. That connection of Walchuk to Priyan. Trying to give that to Anik as well.
Classic there. I mean, I was just going to say, are they going to let anybody but Priyan and Walchuk on this line get offensive stats? And it looked like Anik was ready to be the recipient, but it was the right throw, actually. Anik had just enough traffic in between with the defender getting off her feet there. She was there first, but then with Nikki Priyan coming in, it's a throw that you could throw a bit more lateral and let the run come into it. It did make it easier, and it does mean that Priyan and Walchuk connect for another scoring stat each.
Yeah, Walchuk Priyan as the combination has been involved in 3 out of the 4 JinX scores so far. The other one being Garnier and Müller. So that just indicates how strong that connection is. They know each other pretty well. Made unmarked. Back to Slobitska. Trying to find that up line, takes it on. Podgorska. Beautiful work. These backhands going up the line are phenomenal. And then just finding the wide open cutter in the end zone. So textbook. These last 2 points have been so different to the first two. It's great.
Yeah, a couple breaks early, and now things are tidying up. You know, and sometimes when you're coaching and practicing, offense is easy. We know, we dictate, we know what we're doing. They got to react, and they're making offense look easy right now. Those last, since 3-2, since the last break that went to troubles, it has been clean holds, no turns, low pass counts. I think the most we've seen is 6 since then in the last 4 points. So both these teams are really clicking and hitting stride.
Still only 1 point separating these two. We're just over a third of the way through time. So games here are 45 minutes. Half is at 7 because games, the points cap is at 13 rather than 15. So slightly shorter games, but given how exhausting beach is, I'm sure that the athletes are quite thankful for that. Walczak overthrows Brian, troubles with the opportunity for a break. Just outside the end zone. Managed to work behind to Senicic.
Ooh.
Just off the fingertips of Sanchowska.
Yeah, it's just out of reach there. Senicic, I like that option. It was the right throw, the around backhand, but just put a little bit too much on it. And now JinX get a break chance after we were just talking about offensive efficiency.
I almost thought the defense was going to go over that, but Brian with the chest clap catch and the same connection we've seen time and time again. Brian to Walczak. Walczak wide open in the end zone.
Yeah, unguarded in the end. She blew away her mark downfield with no chance to catch up. Brian had no business catching that, though. You're right. The defense was the step in front. I'm not sure if she got turned around or a look at the sun or something. Just a little bit of a misread. Whatever the case, Brian wasn't bothered by it. She stood her ground, stayed under the disc, eyes only for the disc, and then the rest was relatively easy. Did a good job to not throw early as well. Took her time, waited till Levka Walczak was even closer to the end zone and threw to ensure that no more was required. How's that stat line? 3 goals and an assist. That must mean that Brian's got 3 assists and a goal.
That is exactly correct. That's that is what our comm source is showing.
Yeah.
So can Troubles answer back? Froszinska now in the handler space, trying to find Hulblitska up the line, but it's well marked out instead go for the 7 cut. Great movement, Nowakovska. Back to Hulblitska. Getting pretty much every other touch for Troubles on their O-line. Froszinska has 2 cuts kind of going up the line in the same space. Finds the around. Popek. Nowakovska. Back to Froszinska. Popek is going up the line. Froszinska does take it on. Posiainen, though, taps that away. Not an opportunity for Troubles.
Yeah, great follow-up pursuit by Posiainen. I thought that throw was going to go. I thought the separation was good.
My goodness, that is a corker of a forehand. End zone to end zone. It's being called not in, though. Toes just outside. Dishes back to Gowner. Gowner from the knees. For JinX. Oh my goodness, what a sequence of throws that was.
Lewandowska uncorked a missile there. That was, tape to tape. Okay, not quite in, but landed on the tape. So the full length of the field proper here on the beach. And when it wasn't in, Huard had the presence of mind to just wait, turn, and Garnier caught it on her knees and threw it from her knees.
Phenomenal chase down of that disc. She was fully convinced that she was in, and I would have been convinced too if I was chasing that down. But as you can see from the replay, caught just outside. It's pretty good heads-up awareness from Froszinska to notice that. So we promised you a scorcher of a game, and you're getting a scorcher of a game.
That one's a break, of course. The third of the game, the go-ahead for JinX. We've got a couple go-aheads now, a couple score lead changes.
Troubles O-line now going the other direction. Flying bid. Just off the fingertips for Kroll. Kroll still on the sand. They're having a discussion about something.
I think I saw a foul indication from the hand signals there. It must have been legs getting tangled before the dive because there was no contact while she was laying out. Or so my initial estimation of it would lead me to believe.
Yeah, I'd agree. Some sort of tangling or maybe contacts off the start of the cut causing some hesitation down the line. Sochowska throws the underneath and it has been defended. Prien applying a pressure ever more. Anik has the dump option on Givich. Finds Valchuk. What a beautiful backhand that was. An OI throw into the break side space. Valchuk to Prien. Are we going to get another combo? Prien doesn't like what she's seeing. Dumps back to Givich. Slashes across herself. And there it is. Time and time again. That must be so difficult to shut down. Just because they're seemingly finding each other quite easily does not mean that the defense is giving up.
I mean, you would think it would give you an indication of what to defend better. As soon as A gets it, guard B. As soon as B gets it, guard A. But again, it's easier said than done, that is for sure. Especially when when they're making these cuts to the extremities towards the sideline. No help defense available. It's still, match, player-to-player assignment, and, one little stutter step, one jab step, that's all it takes, and the two of them are using those very effectively and very frequently, as we're seeing. That's the second break in a row, the first run of the game, so 3 in a row for JinX. Surprised not to see a timeout. I would be taking it here.
Well, this is
That's
halftime, but there is no
yes.
timed half.
Yeah, right, so they don't get to talk about it. It will be JinX receiving, so now the potential for the 2 for none, which would end up being the 4 for none.
What would you be saying in this timeout if you were Troubles?
Mostly just reset. Like their last 2 turnovers were, not necessarily sloppiness. The throw there into a bit of a contest with Prien charging down to just, let's refocus. Let's go back to what we were doing at the start of the game. There were moments where we were playing smooth, scintillating offense. How do we get back to that? What do we got to do? And I think it's just like get back on the right page, take a nice deep breath together, because there's no major changes. It's one small error and 2 points. Two little decisions. They feel harsher when it's 3 in a row against you. But let's get back to this. We are good enough. Let's go back to the way we're playing. No panic, no worry. And maybe not taking a timeout does that as well. But for me, I like to just regather and get everybody feeling light and fluffy.
It's the first pull of the second half being bricked. Some beautiful color content there. An absolute mop of a dog. Müller. Has Pichugina. Müller straight up the line again. Some slightly different faces for this JinX O-line. And phenomenal work. Great commanding start to the second half. Lewandowska with the score for JinX.
Now that's 4 in a row for JinX. Pichugina there. Nice throw, finding Lewandowska wide open. I thought Müller did a great job getting downfield. And as you said, it's a few different faces doing the scoring. I think the line that was out there has been playing D more. They got 2 lines. They got 11 players. I don't think anything is strict OD, but I do think there is a small tendency to have the Prien Valchak line receiving pulls. and the Garnier Lewandowski line, let's say, chasing pulls, playing defense. But there was a hold by the what I'm calling the D line. But now we see that maybe there is nothing to it because that next line's out chasing pulls.
And again, Trouble still not opting to take a timeout here. Maybe still realizing, hey, this game doesn't mean a whole lot in terms of the rest of the tournament. Let's just take this as a learning opportunity, but we can still fight back. Broszinska to Made. Massive fake. Broszinska snags it out of the air up the line. Finds the round in Popek. Doesn't like the options in the end zone. Takes on the quick jab step from Made. Klebitska does find a receiver, having to go to sand, but nice clean hold from Trouble. Still some insecurity and inconsistencies throughout that.
Yeah, it's funny. The 4 in a row against feels like a whole lot. A landslide against. They were up by 1 before that happened. Now they're, putting that one on. They're still only down by 2. This is still a game. Plenty left to play. But that was, they stem the bleeding, so to speak. That was an absolute necessity, particularly if they're not taking the pause. And now, is it JinX who's taking the break?
I am not sure.
Either way, we've got a break.
We've got a timeout, and both sides are going to reset, recenter, try and think of their next steps as we're approaching this latter part of the game. 8-6, JinX versus Troubles. We will be back in a few. And the beautiful beaches here in Gdańsk with some wildlife and a patch sitting out in the ocean there.
Yeah, a little sandbar out there. I think they just get their...
Is that maybe one of our tents that's still underwater?
I don't think so, but I can't say with conviction.
We can't see the tent that was there yesterday. I did have a look for it, but...
A search and rescue party went out and got it.
That's upsetting. Mildly upsetting. I wanted it to become part of the ecosphere.
Yeah, it is upsetting. But the birds seem happy.
And you know who else is happy?
JinX. Oh, well, we're happy too. Look at that. Troubles are working a lot harder for a bit less right now. 50 total passes to 27. That's great efficiency out of JinX there to be able to 8 goals and 27 passes. That's offense and defense combined.
We're going to see the JinX O-line that we've seen seldom so far in this game.
An average of 3.3 passes per goal.
Phenomenal maths there.
I used a calculator.
Lewandowski with the stall count rising, trying to find Gerna. Gerna having to go to sand. Beautiful bid from the defense, just making sure. That would have been difficult to catch regardless, but got to make the bid otherwise.
Yeah, Zakczewska is a heck of an athlete out there. Anybody who's going to get the Garnier assignment has to be, or they're going to get cooked. And Zakczewska did an exceptional job. You could see Garnier setting up her layout there. You knew it was coming, and Zakczewska wasn't put off a bit. She sent her body the same, kept her line, kept her position, and took that away. Senicic
taking her time. Treble set up in a split horizontal, going for some sort of set play, with Kroll going under. Then back into the handler space. We're being forced backhand at the moment. Beautiful bid. Sakchowska again, having to go horizontal twice. Senicic has Sakchowska wide open. Flying bid again. Oh my word.
Huard shuts down the lane. Lateral layout on the goal line and takes that away. That is one heck of a bid. There it is again. What a play.
Yeah, that was a tit for tat kind of D. If you're going to lay out, I'm going to lay out too. Another opportunity, Lewandowska. This trebles defense is just suffocating. Pursiainen finds Gerner. Tries to find Muller. Muller with a phenomenal cut up the line and a throw to match. Not much being generated in terms of movement. Stall count getting higher here with the bookends.
Good on you, Malena Muller. She looked to Lewandowska. She was covered up and, not generating much. Gerner moved early, but by the time Muller turned to her, she had kind of pushed herself into the sideline, and there was a good defensive position against her. Looks upfield. All right, I'll just throw to score and drop a dime to an open Huard. And, again, being able to tick off options and go down your decision tree. No, this one's not going to work for me. No, this one's not going to work for me. Each one you check off, the pressure rises. You feel the pressure of the stall count against you. And, that would have been a stall 6. Maybe not. She wasn't pressed against it. But yeah, to turn and throw a, 30-meter dime of an assist, love that ability.
Sophie Her now with 2 goals and a block to her name. Pretty impressive stat line. Prien with the pull to Made. Slabitska. Back to Made. JinX opting for a forced middle. Slow down any sort of flow that Troubles can provide. This massive cut coming from the deep space from Nowakovska. Instead takes on Woroszewska. Made. Slabitska having to rise high, but Walczak is just there for the backup. Givic to Prien.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, indeed. Walczak having to go to standstill. Oh, my goodness. There was a second there where she was a bit more confident and then realized, I'm going to have to move.
You just saw that happening right from the intercept. Walczak was, power stepping towards the end zone. Her first 2 steps after the intercept were explosive. And then it got covered up a bit, got to Prien, and then, we saw it happening from there. Maybe overthrown, and then Walczak shows her athleticism, puts the bid out, and puts herself on a highlight reel for the goal.
Some beautiful stuff.
Yeah, that Walczak explaining to us, as we've heard most of the weekend, that this sand is like quicksand. She says the throw was better than it should have been, but they just keep sinking in it, and more people attesting to that fact that it's just so difficult to gauge speed out there because of the sinking.
Yeah, we've heard it being described as soft but dense.
Yeah, it is. I mean, even ourselves just walking to the job site, it's and we know when we do our gimbal work.
We have such a hard job.
Oh, okay. But we get a sense of how it is to move, but not quite the sense that they have, of course.
And Buladida finds Sakchowska. And back to Buladida. Troubles making light work so far. And again, woo! I mean, if they could bring that every point, this would be an even closer margin.
Yeah, they've had flashes of brilliance. That one there, brilliant. A beautiful pull reception right through to the end zone. No stall counts, more than maybe 2. Finding options immediately. As soon as they look upfield, they're spotting and throwing. Here's a look back to the last play of Volchak. Oh, what a great layout, Levka, you legend. But it was Troubles who did it last time, brought themselves back. There's the goal, but it's a very quick movement. And as we said, easy to say, you know, you get so many defensive looks. The wind and the atmosphere is changing on each given point. Your line changes a little bit, and you know you're never going to get 2 points the same. You want to emulate as best as possible, but at least they're still finding it late in the game, even from behind. They can still put together a beautiful offensive possession. Uh-oh.
And this JinX O-line looking slightly different now. Brian back to Anik. Brian calling for it, but Anik didn't like that. Takes Givich instead, going to knees. Brian, quick jab step in the middle and back out. There's a pick in the center of the pitch, however. Givich slightly unaware.
I'm watching Volchak out there a lot. She's got such a motor. I mean, sometimes I'm like, she's got to stop after this cut. She's going to be gassed. And she just cuts again with the same kind of vigor. It's very impressive.
But that was like in the WECC final with Revolution. She played most points. She has an absolute engine. And Anik wanting to really get that engine firing, but the defense answers otherwise. They're like, nope, you're not getting this stat.
Awesome D by Made to get in front and stay in front. You know Volchak's going to do her best to close that space. She did, but great defensive position by Made to not give up anything.
There seems to be a foul call in the original throw. So most of the team was unaware of anything happening, but obviously Anik is having a discussion with her defender.
And you throw it 6-5.
Contested fouls. The disc is going to go back into Anik's hands.
I'm not sure I saw it, to be very honest, at the point of that throw. Having a hard time trying to take my mind back to remember it.
Yeah, we weren't necessarily paying attention to what was going on in the hands. It was more...
Here it is. All right. Playing on anyhow.
Brian finds Anik's just slip through the hands. Banmüller, hands to head.
Yeah, couldn't believe herself. Tough one there. Right in and out of the breadbasket.
Froszinska over to Made. Made fakes. There's a poach in the central lane. I'm loving this Made-Valchak matchup. It's already proving to be super spicy. Made not liking what she's seeing downfield. Froszinska taking the timeout for troubles, but they're having a discussion as to whether they have one.
I believe so. I thought they should have used it at the beginning. No, they don't? They ended up taking one? Yes, they did, early in the second half.
The erroneous throw, gifting JinX only about 10 meters until the end zone. Slightly too low, miscalculation where the wind had maybe died down slightly. Givich centers to Valchak. Valchak to Plian. Not quite the stat gainer yet. Givich for the dump behind. Nice patience, but Plian already thinking about the next throw. Stutters in the hands.
Yeah, a little bit of fatigue setting in. The focus moments are slipping from time to time as this game gets on. It's hot out there today. It is a hot, sunny day, a very different show than yesterday afternoon and evening. But yeah, Troubles give themselves another chance here. Potential to break.
Broszinska clears out of the handler space, but Made still wants to find her. Made marked out. Popek. Vaja going for the bid, but Made not phased whatsoever. Stockout rising, Made taking on the wide swing option, has it! Beautiful stuff from Troubles. You can see how exhausting this is, the fatigue.
That throw was a hero maker. There was not many options left, high in the stall count. And that's when the heroics come out. Sometimes you're forced into the, maybe some uncomfortable situations. I've got nothing left. That's my last hope. And when dimes are dropped in those situations, it's so exciting to watch. Makes these games worth their weight in gold. That's a break for Troubles. They got their work cut out for them here. We're nearing the end of time, but in this wonderful game of Ultimate, it ain't over till the very end, till the last nail is driven in. And if Troubles can get on the break train late, they can make it very difficult, as you see the mop dog there hanging with Levka. So 44 minutes in, about a minute to go before we're going to hear the time cap, at which stage we'll have a +1 to the score, to the leading score rather. But I like to see the 2 in a row there. That was probably the hardest grind Troubles have had in this game to date.
And you can see in the fatigue right at the end of that point. So JinX still needing to prove that they can themselves high this game. Pichugina takes on the deep, looking for Garnier. Garnier getting suckered in by the defense, wanting to get there ahead of time. Zakchovska really getting away.
Zakchovska again doing a good job on the Garnier assignment. The throw was taken by the wind and pushed towards that line to help the extra defender, but I really do think Zakchovska is really doing everything possible. One of the best players on the bench.
Kroll. Massive backhand on court.
Wow.
What another break for Troubles. Kraszewska in the end zone for Troubles. There seems to be some sort of pause, however.
I thought that was my initial estimation, but Huer and Malena Muller are both wondering. Another look here. This throw, an absolute corker by Zakchov.
So Troubles players flooding through. And Bolodida just outside the end zone. Stall count getting a lot higher, having to get the panic shot out, and it's successful. A quick high five. Woo! It's getting close. Time will have gone during that point, so it seems to be game to 11.
Game to 11. That's 2 in a row now. 3 in a row now for Troubles. They're making a game of this with a late game charge. Zakchovska, I'm going to give her props again. That's the D, and then that throw. And maybe we'll see here. It doesn't matter. It's a goal now, but always fun. I think it was a goal. Yeah. In its original form. They just had to work a little harder for it, but and obviously close enough. We need slow motion replay from a high angle to be able to deduce as much. But wow, Troubles coming with some energy late here. Still 2 more breaks required, so a lot of work here, but they're proving capable.
I think something that if I was a player on either of these teams that would be stuck in my mind is the fact that this game is so fatiguing. We'll be carrying that fatigue with us through the rest of this tournament as well. So that could play a role later on. I hope it doesn't, of course. We want to see some high-quality ultimate and some happy athletes. Gievich sends this to Walczak. Play in. Has Bandmüller deep, but the defender is on the back shoulder, so doesn't want to take that on. Running out of options. The defense gets it right in the way of Blitzko. Don't think was really anticipating that to get in her way.
Priyan had nothing left. She wanted to go back to Old Faithful and find her connection with Walczak, but throw just low enough for Chablichka to make a play at it.
And Triple seems to have blended their O and their D line. They've got Sakchowska and Chablichka in the handler space. Trying to team up. Sakchowska. Chablichka. Up the line, Walczak steps in, saw that coming.
I think lucky she did. Had she not seen the throw going up there and poached away, I think Zakchovska would have had enough straightaway speed to make a layout play at that.
The wind seems to have picked up in these last few minutes. Walczak again going to sand. Plian, beautiful bid. Plian might be calling something, unsure.
Zakchovska's injured. Zakchovska's playing out of her skin right now. She is stepping up to another level for the last, I mean, she's had a great game beginning to end, but these last 2 or 3 points, goodness gracious. We certainly hope she's going to be okay, and hopefully that's just a winding. But wow, what a play. Was there a call? No. Priyan, I think she may have thought about it, but agrees that it was a great defensive play made against.
Yep, signaling the turnover. Priyan going to be on force here. Madej. Low throw for Vivtrovska. Troubles very close to universe points. Trying to find a pivot. Bandmüller as a force also having to step back just over the top. 1 split second too quick.
Yeah, credit some great JinX defense in the end zone there. They were very tight on every assignment. There was very little to throw to, but finding a way to reset in the backfield a couple more times maybe would have opened something up, a bit of patience, but to get that patience is a whole lot of ticker.
Priyan thought about the bid. The head went down, but instead the disc was with enough touch to just chase onto it. Gievich. High disc over Bandmüller with the backup, but again over the fingertips. This is going back and forth in turnovers.
Over both, a little ping pong. Another chance for Troubles to force universe here. It's getting very exciting, that is for darn sure.
This wind is proving to be quite difficult already. It has picked up slightly. And adding that in with some fatigue, some mistakes are bound to be made. Vivtrovska didn't like the under, dishes over the top. Quick give-go movement.
Yeah, good squirrel cut by Chablichka.
And Buladida finds Vivtrovska on the sideline, unmarked currently. Was it unmarked? Gievich was there. Gievich calling the timeout for JinX.
Sensible. They are gassed out there, justifiably so. Late game, they've passed the time cap, and a long point, multi-turnovers right now, so I understand the timeout very much so.
It's certainly a very good call. They'll need that reset to bring them into what might be the last point. We will also take a break here, and we'll see you soon after some messages.
We live in a world where everything can be referenced online. Imagine if the greatest moments in our sport were never filmed. Eurodisc continues to do what it takes to make free-to-watch live streams a reality. Let's leave nothing to the imagination. We'll consume the action live, and we'll support those that help to make it happen. If it wasn't streamed, it didn't happen. Eurodisc.
What a grab! Oh my God! Somehow they do
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
What might be the last point of this ridiculously tight JinX Troubles game. Troubles slightly down, but definitely not out. They've traded in breaks. It's been so exciting. At the moment, JinX have the disc. They will be starting on offense. Steph, what are you expecting to see here coming out this time out?
A little bit of calm is probably what they are trying to give themselves. They've got a vertical stack, some separation. I suspect they're going to try and set up a cut to let those two at the back of the stack cook with one another as they've done all game. Maybe not with intention, but I think that works well for them. So that's what I expect will naturally generate from this.
So after the timeout, the pull play didn't necessarily work, but Givich finds the dump in Banmüller. Walczak surveying her options, takes on the dump quite late, but Givich is there, provides the cut, and the patience. Givich, looking for Walczak, is going just outside of the end zone. Looked like it might have floated in, didn't want to milk it. And a gentle little airy backhand secures the game for JinX, 11-9.
Trouble's just playing with our heart there, making this big comeback. Multiple turnovers on the last point. The potential for Universe existed, but you got to give it to him. That was a great last game surge to give us that heart murmur and the potential for it. JinX did find just enough to take the 2-point win there, and a great showing by both. If this is a prelude to the final, well, I'm very excited for the potential for rematch, but they're both going to have to work their way through the brackets to give us that.
Yeah, I certainly believe that. I can see how hard Troubles works, but I feel like they've got something else bubbling. Maybe not wanting to reveal everything, but oh, it's going to be exciting. This women's division is incredible, and we've got so much more action coming up for you later on in this tournament. Just checking our next game on this pitch. It's going to be in the mixed division. It's going to be Fui versus Bravas. And just a quick highlight on one of the stats leaders for this game. Livka Walczak, 5 goals, 2 assists, and 1 block. 0 turnovers.
One legend, that number 42 shirt. She does it with consistency. Love to see it here on the sands of Gdańsk.
And a beautiful morning, beautiful sunny morning we've had. Thank you very much for tuning in for our first game. For Steph Rapazzo, I'm Gigi Morrison, and we will see you soon.
Thank you. Thanks.
Merci beaucoup.